Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, August the 6th, 2019, and we are live, ready for our podcast, Tuesday Talks with Tonia. And our topic today is women entrepreneurs learning and leading. And today I have three lovely ladies with me that will be sharing their experiences as business owners, as women, as professionals, sharing some of the struggles, successes, you name it. They're going to talk about it. So I'll start with a brief bio on each of them. So to my right, we have Miss Tracy Graham, farmer, and Tracy is a master cosmetologist and business owner. She's my hairdresser, has been for 20 years. So everybody that always asks about my hair, this is the master behind it. So Miss Tracy has been a business owner of First Impression Salon for over 14 years. She has a master cosmetologist for over 24 years, born and raised in Waynesboro, Georgia. At the age of 5, she was inspired by Yvonne Gaines, her hairstylist as a child. And when anyone would ask her what she wanted to be when she grew up, her reply would be a hairstylist. Throughout her teenage years, she always styled her friends' and family's hair. After she graduated high school, she went on to pursue her lifelong dream of being a master cosmetologist. She attended Augusta Beauty College here in Augusta, Georgia. After she graduated from college, her lifelong dream of being a cosmetologist began. Several years later, Tracy will be blessed with her very own beauty salon, First Impression, located in Hepzibah, Georgia, on Tobacco Road. After opening, Tracy will be blessed with an amazing staff and very loyal clientele, 20 years. Tracy always ends each client's hair session with, "That's a blessing and I love you." So welcome, Tracy. We also have Miss Wendy Perry. Wendy Perry is kind of a Jill with skills. That's what I call her, Jill with skills. Wendy is the CEO and co-founder of Catalyst Executive Advising and Development. She leads a team of professional consultants and human performance experts that is poised to partner with organizations to coach leaders and develop high potential leadership candidates. Her life is a compelling story of determination and leading beyond one's circumstances. With an exceptional blend of professional leadership, training, practical real world experiences, and exacting standards forced in the military and healthcare industry, Wendy has emerged as a gifted leader, advisor, and mentor. Wendy honed her leadership skills as a registered nurse and U.S. Army officer with over 20 years of experience, serving teams across the globe. The diversity of her experience as a clinician, human resources expert, and educator is unparalleled. Having served in key leadership roles in medical facilities, academic institutions, and executive agencies, Wendy believes that the common factor of success or failure in each organization has been the impact of leadership. I'm not. She was like, "That's too much." But she also has a book series, Power Her. So she has that, and she has her own Facebook broadcast that her and her husband is called Inside Marriage. So look them up on Facebook. And last but not least is Adrienne Wright of Wright One Paint and Body. Adrienne is a good friend. So I've known all of these ladies for a good while. Wendy is the newest member of my family. So, but Adrienne is one that has been around me for a while too. And Adrienne is one of those quiet in the background, just like Tracy. You don't see them out and about. You don't know too much about them, but they are powerful women. So Adrienne is the owner of Wright One Paint and Body Shop. She has been in business for 13 years and recently opened a brand new state-of-the-art facility on Gordon Highway right here in Augusta, Georgia. She's been on WJBF Women to Watch. She's been featured in Fender Bender magazine. Adrienne loves to read anything about her industry and believes in iron sharpening iron. Loves to travel because she travels with me sometimes. Enjoys doing charity work and likes to cook. She is the daughter of Mr. Harold Wright and Joyce Greer and has 4 brothers. So welcome, ladies. Welcome to the Tuesday Talks with Tonia podcast. Thank everybody for joining us, whether you're joining us live, whether you're here in person. We have some women in the audience. I know it's a school night. I know you guys are just getting the babies back to school, and if you're in Columbia County, you start tomorrow. So we do send safe travels for the children, pray blessings upon them, the teachers, faculty, staff. So we're going to dive right in, and today's topic, like I said, is women entrepreneurs learning and leading. So I have some questions for the ladies, and we'll just go one by one. So I'll start with Tracy. What drove you to become an entrepreneur?
When I was a young lady, when I was growing up, my mom always took me to the hair salon, and my hairstylist inspired me. She was a great businesswoman, and from that point on, by meeting her and her doing my hair for like several years, it just showing me all the skills that I need to run a business, to be successful, I watched her. And that's what inspired me was my hairstylist as a child.
That's awesome. Wendy, same question.
Okay, so after spending 22 years in the Army, they made no mistake of letting us know that the needs of the Army came first. And so I would still be in the Army if their motto was the needs of the people come first.
Mm.
And so
Good.
one of the things that led me to start my own company was to be able to help leaders really recognize that relationships are the most important thing, and taking care of their people becomes more important than profit. And so that's what kind of drew me to it.
That's awesome. Adrian, if you and Wendy can switch just a minute. I know it's a little tight for us with this camera, but we'll make sure everybody's in. So, Adrian, same question. What drove you to become an entrepreneur?
What drove me to become an entrepreneur is my father decided to open a business in 2007. I didn't know anything about the business. It was something that he's done for the past 30 years. And he said that he needed someone to run his office. And I said, why not me, Daddy? I didn't know anything about cars, but how to drive them and wreck them, which I did a lot. And I came into that industry completely not knowing anything about cars. And now I'm 13 years in. I have a staff of 15. And it's rewarding. I get to kind of have my own schedule, but at the same time, I do have to sacrifice a lot of things.
So a caveat to what you just said, you're a female in a male-dominated industry, and you have 4 brothers. So for you to step up to the plate to say, why not me? I think that speaks a lot, because as women, I think a lot of times we're willing to do whatever. Whether we think we can do it or not, we will find a way. We will figure it out. So I think that's commendable, and I think that's probably why a lot of women start businesses or join different organizations, whether it's the men-only club or, the good old boys system or whatever. We're like, we can do it too. We can do anything that we can put our minds to. And as long as you have the right support system, and I think you'll be successful. So that's awesome. So I'll start with you then next. How long did it take for your whole process once your dad had said, hey, come on board with me? How long did that take?
As far as how long did it take for me to join him? 3 days.
Oh, really?
I was in a corporate environment. I liked it. But then I just felt like taking a chance. I was in my 20s then. So it wasn't, and I don't have any children, so it wasn't anything holding me back or stopping me. And I always felt like I could do anything I wanted to do. I just didn't know what that was at the time. So I just stepped out and said, I'm going to do it. And I had a lot of naysayers that said, hey, you don't have any customers. Nobody knows y'all and things like that. And the phones aren't ringing, but I just did it. So you just have to do it.
Wendy, I'm going to ask you the same thing, and I'll just turn this around so you guys don't have to play this.
Okay.
There you go. So how long did it take you to decide and then move forward with starting your business?
Wow. Okay. So it took about a year after I retired, and 18 months exactly. And so in that year after I retired, my husband, who's a co-founder, said, hey, I'm going to jump right in and I'm going to start on all of the stuff that needs to happen to get this started. And I'm like, okay, you go ahead and you do that. And I wasn't quite ready after leaving the military. I needed to step into something else. So I went to the VA for a year and a half. And because it's in me to serve.
Yeah.
And so I went to the VA for a year and a half. And then we had the conversation we'd had many times. And he said, hey, I really need you to be here. If you're here, then we will be able to do so much more. And I was like, are you sure? Are we going to be able to eat?
Right.
How are we going to pay the bills? And what are we going to do? And so he said yes. So I had to pray about it, prayed about it. And that morning I woke up and I was just at peace. And I said, you know what, this is the thing. I can't really talk to people about stepping out on faith if I'm not willing to do it myself.
Absolutely.
So it took me 18 months to walk into it.
Absolutely.
So, yes.
Okay. And Tracy, what about you? How long did it take you once you said, this is what I want to do, and I know after high school, so how long did it take you actually to put everything together?
It took about 10 years to get everything together. I had to be self-employed at first, working into salons, building my clientele, and then right after that, I just decided one day to step out on faith and go in, and that's what I did. I just went in and opened up the business, and it became successful business, and been in business now for 14 years
On your own.
on
So
my own.
before you were in
So
other women's salons.
before I was in other salons, and and watching them how they run their businesses encouraged me even more. So I just stepped out and I did it.
Awesome. So what are some of the barriers that you faced early on? And then the A to that question would be, what barriers do you still face?
Um, Early on, facing um, trying to get all the license that you need. You need so many different licenses to open up. The fire codes, you have to make sure everything is up to code. All your licenses up to code. And now you still continue on to have to make sure everything is up to par. Your salon is running properly, because you have state board that comes around and check and make sure that everything is up to code. And it takes a whole staff really to make it run. So I just don't run it alone. I run it with my staff. So a great staff takes you further. It makes your business even more successful.
Adrian, what were some barriers you faced early on? And what barriers do you still face?
The barriers I faced early on is, once again, cars. People think about men, working on them, and men telling other people about them. So, you have the client that doesn't want to talk to you or assumes that you are the receptionist, not knowing that you're the owner, not knowing that maybe they've spoken with you on the phone and you've given them the information, but they just assume that, I need to talk to a man. That has changed. It was like that early on, or thinking that we were too young. I like to think that I have a pretty young staff. Everybody is pretty much 35 and under. So just, getting people's respect and letting them know that we know what we're doing. And that's why we open up every day.
Wendy, the same question. What kind of barriers did you face early on and still maybe do?
Really getting known, right? And so that marketing piece is such a huge piece. If along with the paperwork, you're right, everything that needs to be filed and having everything in order. But marketing, if it's not in you to self market and self promote, then it can be a challenge. And the networking and having to kind of sell yourself and sell your business. It's hard. It's hard work. And so just starting that way, getting your name out there, planting the seeds. The challenge is today still it's staying encouraged, when the phone's not ringing, or, when you go for a contract and you don't get it. It is okay, opportunity, another opportunity, thank you, and you move on to the next thing. So just staying encouraged despite sometimes things not going exactly the way you thought they would.
And I think along those lines with self-marketing, as women, we tend to not want to be in the spotlight. As women, we tend to want to push everybody else out. And so it's hard to sell yourself because you don't want to sound like you're bragging or boasting. And not that it is, but in our minds, sometimes as women, we feel like we got to shrink back. We don't want the spotlight. We don't want people to think we're arrogant. And it's not necessarily arrogance. I think people become intimidated by women who know what they're talking about.
Right.
And so you're always trying to make sure everybody else is comfortable, but at the same time, you're kind of smothering who you are. And so marketing and being able to sell yourself is very important in any industry, even if you're working for someone else, because you're a representative of whoever you work for.
Right.
And a lot of times people look at you like, well, if it wasn't for such and such, you wouldn't be, and that's absolutely not the case because we bring a lot of skills to the table.
Yes.
Women in general bring a lot to the table, and I think sometimes it's overlooked.
Yeah.
What support system did you or do you have that help you be successful? And the other part to that is, do you find other women to be helpful or hurtful?
So my husband is awesome. He is my primary support system, and he's great. The military also is actually a great support system. I went through a program called Be Wise through Syracuse, and it is set up to help veterans transition, veterans that want to become entrepreneurs, specifically women.
Okay.
And they go through making sure that you're connected with SCORE or the Small Business Development Center, knowing all of the resources available, and they do teaching and training. And so all of that really kind of helps launch. Because if you start from a base of not knowing anything, it's a great place to start. And so that base of support was there. The chambers actually are very supportive. So we got connected with, I think that was the first thing we did, and our list of things to do. So we're connected to every chamber in the area, and that's great support. And then you get to connect with other business owners and partners. Ron Harvey is a person that we partner with out of Columbia. He had been doing it for 5 years before we had, and so we learned a lot from him. And we've just been blessed to have people that were willing to share.
That's awesome.
And so now, what was the other part of that?
The other part was, do you find other women to be helpful or hurtful?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah. There are other women who are inspiring and motivating, and they want to lift you. Women like me. If there's anything I can do to help you, I'm happy to share. But it's business. And so depending on your industry, it is competitive. And so I have also run into women who are like, you know what, I've never heard of you, and I don't know you, and I'm not talking to you. And so I think it's on us to not be that way. Because everyone can use a little help.
Absolutely.
Yes,
same question.
Just to piggyback off of what Wendy said, definitely the SBDC, Small Business Development Center, they've helped us since the beginning.
Yes.
With classes, with education, with, putting our building up. Programs that they have, as well as the chamber. I think it's a good support and starting point for business owners, and then family.
Yes.
Close family. My immediate family has been a support system for me. Before I came in here, my mom was like, encourage. I'm like, okay, I got it. Okay, I gotta go. But my family, my dad, he definitely pushes. I want an all-female collision center. So just, and friends like Tonia Gibbons who support me. And have women been helpful or hurtful? I would say they've been helpful. People like Tonia, my friend LaShiver, Monique, they've been very helpful. Camilla.
Tracy, same question. Support system do you have, and what do you find women to be helpful or hurtful? And I think this probably will be more for you because of the type of industry you're in. Hair is very important to women. And so a lot of times, but share what you want to say, and then I'll say what I have to say.
My support system was my family and some of my friends. You have my family backed me up from the beginning. Some of my friends did as well, and some females can be hurtful, and I find that some of them can be helpful as well. But in the hair industry, it's more, you can have it either way. So you can have some women that, they try to sabotage your business, if that can happen. And you have some that would try to help you, like Tonia. She's been there. She's been loyal for 20 years. And I have quite a few clients that have been loyal for 20 plus years as well. So, it can go either way. You can have some that's helpful and some that's not. But you kind of know who you can deal with and who you can't deal with at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I think you do kind of figure out who you can lean on for support, or who you can go and ask the questions. And I guess it's just all about your research. And what I found in Augusta, it's all about who you know. And being an outsider, not from Augusta, I've faced that and I've dealt with that. But I think at the end of the day, if you find a strong woman that's willing to support you no matter, because at the end of the day, there's enough for all of us to eat. There are so many people for all of us to eat. Even if you're my competitor, I can still sit down and, hey, girl, this is what works for me. Do you have these issues? There's nothing wrong with sharing information. But I think as women, we kind of come into a shell sometimes, and I don't protecting ourselves because of maybe hurt or mistrust or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's enough for all of us, and I try my best to, support women, especially if I believe in you. Now, there are some times when I'm like, but you have to know, I'm just being honest. As women, I'm particular about my brand, and I just can't associate my brand with everybody.
That's true.
So if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you have your business together,
Yep.
I'm all for you. But if you come with the ratchetness and the foolishness,
That's right.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to pray for you.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pray that God helps you, but I'm not going to be the one that's going to put my name on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the next question is, what advice would you give to a woman who wants to become an entrepreneur? Adrian.
Do it. I know, sometimes people say, well, I need to do this first. I need to make sure that this is paid. I got to save up for this. And you're saving and saving, and the years go by.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
There are resources out there that can help you
Absolutely.
use those resources. A lot of them are free.
Absolutely.
So many things I found out with the Small Business Development Center, that there were tools. We can help you set up your QuickBooks. We can help you with this class. Come to this class. You'll learn how to operate, what your financial reports need to look like. Things that I didn't know about before I started the business, and how important it was for, things to look good on the outside, but your paperwork needs to look better.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't have known that. So I would say, and definitely reach out to, other women that have done it and are doing it. Before you just assume that, this is hard and I can't do it. You can do it. And it's going to be some challenges. It's not a cakewalk. Every day is not a pretty day either. But you can still put your makeup on, put your heels on, walk in there, do what you have to do.
That's right.
Take charge, lead, encourage, support your staff. And you'll find the rewards in that as well.
Thank you. Wendy,
Yes.
same question.
What was that question, Wendy?
So the question is, what advice would you give to a woman who wants to become an entrepreneur?
I think you first have to ask yourself the right question, and that is, are you passionate about what you do, or do you have a vision for how it can change things or change your community or change the world? And the reason why I say that is because there are a lot of visionaries who, get into it and they're not doers.
Yeah. Right.
And so if you're a visionary, you need a doer. You need a partner.
That's right.
If you're a doer, you actually need a partner that's a visionary.
That's right.
Because if you are a doer, then you want to step slowly into entrepreneurship, because you won't get to do that thing most of the time.
Right.
It becomes, except for in your case, you do what you love, and that would be my advice. You have to do what feeds you, what you're passionate about. But I think there's so much benefit into working under someone else first, or partnering strategically, so that you're not doing all the work and carrying all the weight as you get started. You learn so much that way, and I think you go farther if you do that. So do it, yes. But ask yourself, you got to have that real conversation first. Because, if you're a doer, man, you get into it. It's like, but I just want to make flower arrangements.
Right.
No, you got to do QuickBooks. You got to do.
That's right. That's right. The ugly side of business.
The ugly side of business. Yes.
Tracy,
You have to love what you're doing. Because if you don't have love in it, it's not going to be successful. You have to step out on faith. Keep Christ first. And stay driven, stay focused, and you'll be successful.
That's good. So there were some statistics that I actually looked up. Forbes and entrepreneur.com. They had some very good articles as I was researching the topic. And one of the things that they shared, there was an article that was just posted July 16th. Entrepreneur.com, and it said 3 female leaders share their secrets for starting and growing a business. Number 1 was create a clear vision and a belief in the business you're starting. 2, have a creative perspective in the face of failure. And 3, take care of yourself every day and do what works for you.
Yes.
And a lot of times as women, everybody else comes first. We'll run ourselves raggedy, run ourselves in the ground, trying to make sure everything is right and everybody is good. And meanwhile, we're sick, we're broken down, we're tired, we're stressed, we're miserable, and we put on that happy face and we go to work every day. But at the end of the day, if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of anybody else.
That's right.
And so as women entrepreneurs, as women leaders, we have to take care of us first. And we have to be serious about our health, our mental health, our physical health, the whole entire package. And a lot of times we do. We just get kind of, well, I got to go home and cook, but I have to run this business. Oh, but the kids need X, Y, Z. Oh, and then I'm in the community.
Yeah.
And we'll burn ourselves out trying to be superwoman. And I know I have the superwoman syndrome. I've already admitted it. But I'm trying, I'm trying to change that. I am really trying to change that because a lot of times when we do that, we set ourselves up for failure.
Yes.
And when we do that, we don't allow sometimes people to come in and help. I got it. I could do it because we want to seem like we're strong and we're capable. We could do it. And we don't need anybody thinking, oh, see, I told you she couldn't do it. So I know that's me. That's my story. I can only speak for me. But then a lot of times it's like I go home, I'm so mad and frustrated and angry. And I have to be like, what is wrong? And it's like, well, because I'm doing everything. And God has literally said, you are not me.
That's right.
Stop trying to be me.
That's right.
You are trying to be me by trying to save everybody. It's not your job to save everybody. You give people the tools, you give them the resources, and you pray for them. But a lot of times, oh, you can't lift that box, let me come lift it for you. Oh, you can't get this crowd, let me come. And he looking at you like, so what is my job? What is my role? And a lot of times we get in God's way. We get in our own way, trying to make sure everybody else is good. Some other information that I found was there are this is from Infographic, Women in Business Statistics. It says some 7.8 million owned women businesses generate $1.2 trillion in annual sales. And each of these companies employs an average of 8.3 workers. Even though fewer women than men own their own business, women-owned businesses have skyrocketed. And I thought that was something amazing. In California, there are 1 million women-owned businesses. And I can't even fathom that. 1 million women-owned businesses. But you think about, women are resourceful.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
We're very resourceful. We know how to make a dollar out of dime. And so that kind of translates into those 1 million. California, Texas has 610,000 businesses run by women. And New York has 594,000. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. And then you think about the breakup of, they have the number of businesses, how many receipts they have, whether they're privately held companies, what types of companies. There are 919,000 retail trade businesses that women are running, 786,000 administrative support, waste management, remediation businesses run by women. There are 1.2 million healthcare and social assistance businesses run by women. So who runs the world?
Women.
Girls. We have a young lady in the audience, and she said girls. And you think about it, and I love James Brown. He wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. It's a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. And so when I think of women entrepreneurs, you young ladies, and all that you've been able to accomplish, and the path that you guys are on and blazing the trail for young women like Alexis and the young baby that we have over here, it's important that we show them strong women. Women are dedicated to something other than themselves. And everybody up here spoke about faith, because it takes faith. Because like you said, at the end of the day, who's going to pay these bills? How we going to eat? We got a light bill, water bill. These bills come every 30 days, and they don't care what kind of job or income you have. They knocking on your door every 30 days like, okay, you need to pay us. And I think that's what hinders us a lot, because in the back of our mind, I have to depend on a man or a job or a paycheck. I can't be successful with just my skills. And that's not true. We're successful wherever we are, whatever we're doing. And a lot of times God is like, okay, and he's telling me this is my testimony. Either you're going to trust me or you're not. You can't trust me when you say, I trust you, but let me get this other job first. You can't say you trust me when you're like, I can't leave because this is what pays the bills. And God was like, so where's your faith?
Yes.
Because it's not, to me, it's not faith going from a job to a job. It's faith when you step out there and you don't see that's there. And it's like, okay, God, I'm finna make this step like Peter when he walked out of the boat. God said, just keep your eyes up here. Don't even look down there. Just keep your eyes up here. Look at me.
That's right.
As long as you look at me, you're going to be fine. But the minute you look down, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Because you start panicking and you flailing and you like about to drown. And God is like, I'm right here. And somebody else, the producer of my Tuesday Talks, Craig, he and I had a conversation. And he said, think about a toddler, a child, when you're teaching them to walk. A toddler gets up, they hold the edge of the table, and you're telling that toddler, come here, I got you. And because that toddler is yours and they know you, they're going to trust you. And they're going to let that table go and not think anything of it because I see my mom, I see my dad. Somebody's calling me to come to them. God is the same way.
Yes.
But we won't let go of the table. We're like, okay, there's another table I can reach over there. I can reach this other table until I get to you. But that's not faith. That's not faith. And he says, without faith, it's impossible to please him.
That's right.
So faith without works is dead. I mean, we know the scriptures. It's easy to say them. It's easy to quote them.
Yes.
It's another thing to live them.
That's right.
It's
That's
another
right.
thing to live them. So he is testing me daily. He's testing me daily. And I appreciate you ladies for joining us. And hopefully you've learned something about each other, learned something about this industry that you guys are in. And I just say that all of you will be blessed beyond measure because God is doing a new thing in this season. I think we're seeing things in times that we haven't seen before.
Yes.
And it's women that are leading. When we look at our government and we see all the women that were elected to run, because people know at the end of the day, a woman's going to get the job done. We may not like each other. At the end of the day, what do we need to do to make sure our community is whole, our families are whole, our country is whole? We got to quit all the bickering long enough to put us together to say, hey, this is the direction we want to go in. It's going to take all of us coming to the table, sharing our ideas, sharing our thoughts, sharing our skills and abilities, and getting the job done. So with that, we're going to say thank you. Thank you guys for joining us today. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. So if you want to watch this post, you can go to Facebook, Tuesday Talks with Tonia. And we also have the YouTube channel Tuesday Talks with Tonia. Thank you all for joining us, and you guys have a good evening. Woo-hoo.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
You already did a picture.